Individuals. Ishmael Palin.
If the history of eugenics tells us anything, it is that we do not tend towards greater egalitarianism over time, but rather find new ways for the privileged to exploit and control the dispossessed. Nevertheless, I do occasionally dream of ways in which we might evolve further. If I could change just one aspect of human nature, it would be our chronic tendency towards tribalism. In that matter, we have barely advanced a step in 1,000,000 years. While the sun shines, we meet and treat with one another, but when the skies darken, we withdraw and whisper suspiciously. And at the first flash of the unknown, we huddle like witless primates in a cave, terrified of the thunder, trusting only those who smell the same as us.
Professor Ishmael Palin, Memorandum to Students, 3289. Professor Ishmael Palin is a scientist specializing in research into non-human technologies and cultures, with a particular emphasis on material artifacts. He is generally considered one of the galaxy's foremost experts on the Thargoids. Professor Palin began his career working for the federal government as a member of the Homeland Scientific Council. In 3301, when objects apparently of non-human origin were discovered in a number of systems, the Federation launched a research program and placed Professor Palin in charge. To the surprise of many, the program was shut down after only a week. Ostensibly on the grounds of safety, Palin refused to comment on the decision, but inside sources later revealed stark differences of opinion between Palin and the federal authorities. Palin insisted that the fruits of his team's research into the so-called unknown artifacts, later reclassified as Thargoid sensors, should be open to everyone, but his federal paymasters wanted the Federation alone to benefit. Palin promptly established his own research body, the Palin Institute, and announced his intent to relocate to the Maya system, beyond the boundaries of superpower-controlled space. His ship disappeared shortly after he set off for Maya, however, and it was not until March 3302 that Palin and his crew were discovered, alive, in escape pods in the Oralos system. Palin revealed that unknown parties had abducted the team, held them captive, and questioned them extensively about their research. Shortly thereafter, Palin stepped down as the head of the Palin Institute in favor of Cora Shaw, citing opposition to his work from dark forces as the reason. He established his own independent research center on Maya A3A and began to study meta-alloys, a material sourced from the Thargoid structures nicknamed barnacles. In October 3302, Palin discovered that meta-alloys could be applied to the development of new defensive technologies. But no sooner had the news broken than the Federation blockaded his research center with a Farragut-class battlecruiser, preventing all access. The move was condemned by the Alliance and the Empire, but the Federation appeared to take no notice. Almost a year later, in September 3303, the federal blockade was lifted. No explanation was given either for the blockade or for its cessation. The event has since been interpreted as the beginning of the end of the Federal Imperial Cold War. In July 3305, Palin was forced to abandon his research center when the Thargoids entered the Maya system en masse. Together with his team, Palin was evacuated to the Arc system, where he wasted no time in establishing a new base of operations at Able Laboratory on Arc 4E. Professor Palin's career has been an inspiration to many young scientists, partly because of his determination that research should benefit everyone, and partly because of his dogged tenacity in the face of repeated interference. He was aware that by choosing to study the Thargoids, he was making himself a target, since there were shadowy agencies who very much wanted to be the sole beneficiaries of this research, but he defiantly persisted with his work nonetheless. Professor Palin may not consider himself heroic, but the fact remains that many less principled scientists in his position would have long ago submitted to intimidation or the promise of material reward.